Ali Mohammed al-Nimr could be killed at any time. His body then put on display for alleged crimes committed when he was just 17. He'd taken part in Shia protests in the eastern city of Qatif in 2011. He was arrested the next year, found guilty of breaking his allegiance to the king, chanting against the state, and using his mobile phone to incite riot. Though the real cause of his death sentence may be that he's the nephew of this outspoken cleric, Nimr al-Nimr, a leading opponent of the Saudi monarchy who's also been sentenced to death. In his first conference speech as Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn asked the Prime Minister to intercede.
Intervene now, personally, with the Saudi Arabian regime to stop the beheading and crucifixion of Ali Mohammed al-Nimr.
And it was an issue we also raised with David Cameron this week.
Well, we have raised this as a government, yes. No, the Foreign Secretary has raised this, our embassy has raised this, we raised this in the proper way. I'll look to see if there's an opportunity for me to raise it as well. I can think of one occasion since I've been Prime Minister where, a bomb that would have potentially blown up over Britain was stopped because of intelligence we got from Saudi Arabia. So, of course, it'd be easier for me to come on your programme and say, well, I'm not having anything to do with these people, it's all terribly difficult, etc., etc. For me, Britain's national security and our people's national security comes first.
Saudi Arabia is Britain's biggest arms market. The RAF diverting its bombs to the Saudi Air Force, which is at war in Syria and Yemen. Only yesterday, Amnesty International accused the Saudis of war crimes in Yemen. Over 2,000 civilians have been killed, with airstrikes responsible for many of those deaths. Though today the Saudi embassy in London said all precautions had been taken and it was biased propaganda to suggest otherwise. It's recently emerged that in 2013 the UK traded votes with Saudi Arabia to help both countries onto the UN's Human Rights Council. The following year, this blogger, Raif was sentenced to 10 years in jail and 1,000 lashes, the first of them caught on camera, for violating Islamic values and propagating liberal thought. Though further lashes have been postponed. Last week, another man, Dawood al-Mahoun, saw his death sentence upheld. He now faces execution by beheading, even though he was just 17 when he joined anti-government protests. King Salman is head of a government which says it rejects any kind of interference in its internal affairs, even if human rights groups want David Cameron to do just that and pick up the phone to the King about the al-Nimr case.
The fact that this teenage boy faces execution, hasn't had a fair trial, it's indicative. We've seen 134 executions, at least 134 this year already. And it's really shocking, it's truly awful, and this shouldn't go ahead. King Salman has it within his power not to sign the death warrant, and David Cameron could urge him to do so.
So Ali Mohammed al-Nimr, now on death row at the age of 20, his family begging their king to spare him, and for the world to take notice.